On the first day of Christmas, my true love gave to me wine in a glass, wine in a bottle,
and a vineyard for all to see. Goeiedag en welkom nog een keer Kwarantynwyn in die tuin saam met Elaine.
Merry Christmas!
It is indeed Christmas time. It'll be our last video before Christmas, and then we'll probably try and do one again before New Year hits if all goes well. But during this festive season, just from us, stay safe, look after yourselves and your family. For those of you who can actually make it to family this Christmas, who aren't locked down, and those of you who are locked down, enjoy the lounge. But hopefully you've got some wine to drink with it. So the wine for today is the Toren Diversity 2019. Now the Toren is located on the Polkadraai Hills of Stellenbosch. It's a little bit on the outskirts, but quite nice up on the hill right next to Reineke Wine Estate, who is also organic estate next door. And actually I think as of the 2020 vintage, the Toren is also now classified as an organic a winery.
Yes, they take their winemaking very seriously over there, eh?
Indeed they do. Now the Toren was first bought and started in the late 90s, I think it was around about 99, by the Den family. They appointed Albie Koch to be the winemaker there, and he is still there, to be quite honest. It sort of appears that all the winemakers who ever make it to the Toren never leaves, because Albie was a winemaker, then he got an assistant winemaker, Charles Williams, which then later became the head winemaker, and now Martin Fourie is the winemaker there, and Charles Williams is the cellar master, and Albie Koch is managing partner.
Definitely
of the
a sign
estate.
of a happy home, eh?
Now the Toren was purchased in 2018 by Daniel Mueller, investment banker who moved around between Switzerland and Cape Town and decided to settle a little bit more over here. And they're also busy with a little bit of a revamp and almost want to say a clean-up of the brand at the Toren, so some exciting stuff
Yes,
in the
aren't
pipeline.
they making a restaurant there now as well, eh?
Yeah, well, I don't think full-on restaurant, but somewhere where you can at least have some snack. There's a wine lounge that they're putting up there so that you can go and sit and overlook either the ocean view or by the pool in the garden and have something to look at and taste their fantastic wines. Now the Toren started in the beginning with just one wine, which was called the Fusion 5. I think it was at that time the first ever Bordeaux red variety in South Africa that used all 5 permitted Bordeaux red grape varieties in the blend: Cabernet Sauvignon, Petit Verdot, Cabernet Franc, Malbec and Merlot. They then later followed it up with a second wine called the Toren Z, which is more, as they call it, a right bank. It's more Merlot driven. They also make the rather exclusive, let's put it that way, Black Lion and Book 17. And then of course the Diversity, which is also a Bordeaux blend, mostly Cabernet Sauvignon for 2019 vintage, about 57%. But then there's also a bit of Petit Verdot and a touch of Cabernet Franc in this wine. Now the wine in itself, if you smell it, it's beautiful dark fruits, blackberries, dark cherries.
Very ripe, dark fruits.
Yeah, beautifully ripe. 2019 was a fairly good vintage in Stellenbosch. We started, it was right at the end of the drought we've been experiencing, so a lot of concentration of flavor in the berries still. But what makes the Toren really interesting as well is their whole philosophy about winemaking. They go and look for the best possible fruit on the farm, and then they treat that fruit with the absolute great care.
Yes, basically what they do is they pick fruits in the first 2 hours on the first day of harvest, and those are the grapes that they use to make their wine. Just those grapes. And then it goes through this long process where they painstakingly pick out the best berries from the whole bunch. So, I mean, from my perspective, that's art. Eh?
It is indeed, to actually go through all that meticulousness.
Yes. Yes.
The Toren got its name from the tower that stands on the farm in the wine cellar. Basically, they were the first ever gravity-fed cellar. It was designed to actually always keep the purity of the fruit. So there's no mechanical pump overs. They actually have a tower that hoists the tanks up so that with gravity they can move wine from one tank or to a barrel or to the next, and therefore maintaining the purity of fruit. Beautiful wine altogether. It's definitely something recommend decanting. We've just opened and tasted, but we'll have this a little bit later for dinner.
Yes.
If you can decant it a day in advance, or not a day in advance, an hour.
Well, about an hour, yeah.
And also, if you really can, go hide it in the cellar for 5 to 10 years.
It can last 15 though.
You will be greatly rewarded
Yes.
with some patience. Something we struggle with in this house. So from us here at Kwarantynwyn, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Enjoy the time with family. Stay safe, and enjoy the wines. Cheers.